You're funny.
It's half as high as the broom.
So Andy's 17 months old now.
This is July 26th, 1987.
Put it away. Put it away. Here, Grammy help. Grammy help you. Oh dear. There we go.
Ever since I can remember, I wanted to be like my Grandpa Ron. I have videos of when I was a kid with him mowing the lawn and me right behind him with my little mower. I hung out in the back of Ron's Super Value, local grocery store, for many hours learning to stock shelves and bag groceries and all the skills that would serve me well in my first job, at Tony's Super Value, when my uncle took it over. He and Grandma blessed me. Some would call it spoiling, to no end. I can remember walking to breakfast with him. We only went 1 block to the drugstore, but to me it felt like a great journey, especially being with him. He would walk so fast, I had to practically run to keep up. It felt like my whole life was encapsulated within that 1 block of downtown Holly, Minnesota, and my grandpa was a figure larger than life to me. Someday I wanted to own a business like him. I wanted to contribute to my community like him. I wanted to be respected like him. I suppose what I really hoped is that someday I would be someone worth looking up to like he was. He was my hero. One of the most vivid memories that I have from my childhood was sitting in the TV room in my grandparents' house just a few blocks away from the store. The evening news would be playing and my grandpa was sitting in the chair, TV stand in front of him, and a stack of sale tags for the next week's ad. He would sit with his marker and write out all of the tags by hand. Bananas, 11 cents a pound. Campbell's soup, 3 for $1. Totino's pizza, 5 for $5. I remember the smell of the marker and the way it squeaked with every stroke on the paper. I remember the distinctive handwriting, all caps with the first capital letter just a little bigger than the rest. Just holding one of those markers takes me back to that place in an instant. But more than all of that, the marker and the memory represents much, much more. It represents to me a man that was willing to work hard. It represents the long hours it takes to turn a dream into reality. It represents a man who would not leave for tomorrow a job that could be done today. It represents an entrepreneurial spirit, a competitive drive, a sacrifice of the present in order to ensure a better future. It represents so many of the qualities that made my grandpa my hero. I didn't fully understand it as a young boy then, but I understood something about that moment. That there was a lesson to be stored away for a later time, when the ignorance of childhood is washed away and the reality of life is revealed. Even later in life, when we were separated by thousands of miles, whenever I talked to my grandpa, he would always ask about 2 things: how's the family and how's business? As if to ask, how are the people that are the most important, and how is the task that provides for all of them? My grandfather was not perfect, of course. But Jesus didn't tell us in Matthew 5:48, be perfect as your earthly father is perfect. No, instead he told us, you therefore must be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. God does not call us to emulate our earthly fathers, but he did give them to us for a reason. We must look for those marker moments, those vivid memories that can teach us about how to work and how to play and how to live our lives. We must learn God's will for us as individuals, and then utilize the lessons of life learned through our family and friends and our own experiences, and realize that those moments were given to us for a reason. We must each seek to carry on the good and beautiful things that have been passed down to us. See, we all have those powerful memories. Some of them are wonderful, and some of them are terrible, and some of them, like the one with this marker, seem insignificant when taken at face value. But none of it is insignificant with God. Here's my favorite promise from the Bible. Romans 8:28. And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to his purpose. This verse is so comforting to me for a very simple reason. It states that God is the one working all things together for good. We don't have much part in it. The problem is that this promise is only for those who are called according to his purpose. That's our part. We make sure that we are answered the call of God in our lives. We must stay close to him and his purpose. And at that point, we can do what James told us to do in his epistle. Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness, and let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. My family was incredibly blessed to have had a patriarch like Ron. He leaves behind a pretty incredible legacy. Grandpa's marriage lasted 62 years, surely only by the grace of God. Of their 5 children, each has been married more than 25 years as well, and each has achieved financial stability and blessing far beyond what any of us deserve. And now the legacy that Grandpa Ron left behind is being passed down to the 3rd and 4th generation. But with that great blessing comes a great responsibility for each of us. How will we pass on the principles to our children? How will they remember us when we're gone? I, for one, am thanking God that I had Grandpa Ron in my life. I thank God that he could show me a little bit of who he is through this great family that Ron and Carol began. I'm praying that the years ahead would have each of us reflecting on the good and the hard things of life, and that we would position ourselves firmly into the purpose of God for each of us. I pray that he would work all of those things for good, that we would not simply be satisfied with physical and financial blessings, but that we would use the opportunity given to us to share the good news of Jesus with the whole world. I'm striving to never take for granted the gift that I had in Grandpa Ron. Hardly a day goes by without me thinking about him and the impression that he left in my life. I miss him a lot. But, by the grace of God, the things he taught all of us can live on. If we're diligent, those things can live on to our 3rd and 4th generation. And through the transformative power of Christ, it can be even better than we had the blessing to experience. I'll continue to think of Grandpa as I have conversations and interactions, as I walk around as a businessman in my small town, and yes, every time I open a permanent marker. I'll miss my grandpa until we meet again. In the meantime, may his legacy live on in us.
Man, let me get up here. I'm gonna take this up here.
You're going to take it back to where is it?
Again, go for a kiss or a hug.
Are you gonna?
Yeah.
Grandpa?
What?
He said he's going to give you a kiss and a hug.
Kiss and hug?
Yeah.
Okay. Get done. Get done.